Goldfish. Okay, so... okay.
Goldfish.
Help. An hour. I believe in us.
Oh, yeah, we totally can. Okay, welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments of Doctor Slump episodes 5 through 8 with you, our listeners.
We're going to jump right in, so this is your one and only warning. Spoilers are incoming, so if you have not watched episodes 5 through 8 yet, make sure you go do that now, and then come back here so that we can talk about the episode together. That. So without further ado, take it away. Please.
Back of you.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive, and we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
If you are not already, follow us on Instagram at the KDrama Show. That's where some of the Ashley tea will be. Any updates about episodes that are coming out. A shout out from one of our followers is Mrs. Terja. Thanks for your follow. And let's get into it.
Overall, how did we feel about this latest installment of episodes? I think for me,
yes,
it took a very interesting turn.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of twists that I did not really anticipate.
Yeah.
But I feel like this show does such a good job of not always painting the most rose-colored picture of life and letting the characters like struggle a little bit in ways that you almost wish that they didn't have to. But that's just kind of reality.
Right.
And so for them to allow that is makes for a more interesting watch. I don't know about more pleasant, but it makes for a more interesting watch. But what were some of your best moments?
I really liked when they were in the town that she was trying to get the interview at the hospital, and they have to stay the night because they missed the train after saving a guy's life. And that's when HaNeul starts to realize that maybe JeongWoo's really not okay. He might be struggling in different ways. But when he teaches her how to play the game Ghost Up, and she like picks it up and is like, yeah, and he's like, okay, well, that was a practice round, and then she just is like, nope, and just starts hitting his wrist because that's what that
was the punishment they
agreed on. And so that was just a fun. They're, they know that this is my friend who's just gonna be here with me in whatever moment I'm needing. But also, like, do you have to be so good at something like immediately? What the heck?
It's a little frustrating. I think one of my favorite moments was when they are waiting in the room, I think, that's in that restaurant, maybe? No, I don't remember what room it was that they were in, but they're sharing a beer and their hands kind of like brush each other's hands.
Oh, yeah, after
they're in the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's just like sparks flying. Like they're both feeling the tension. They're alone in a hotel room.
And when he sits on her hand?
Touch. Yeah. He sits on her hand and they like both hop off the bed like the thing is on fire. And she goes, hey, look. This is what I think of you. Instead of being attracted to you, I just see you as a body, an organism, protein, something like that. Like, okay. Overcompensating a bit here, are we?
Way to throw that wall up.
And technically, I don't think you touched the protein. I think you touched the jiggle. Just saying.
I know. I was thinking more Finding Nemo. He touched the butt.
Look at me. I'm going to go touch the butt.
You're welcome.
Amazing. Oh, man. You gotta cut that together for a short. Did you have any other moments? What were your other moments? My eyes are so itchy.
Another moment that I did really like was when HongRan and DaeYoung actually meet. And they meet for coffee, and he's like, okay, this is why I wanted to meet you. You subscribed to my channel. And she's like, I did not do that. That wasn't me. I wouldn't do that. And he's just kind of like, why do you have to be so mean? But when they leave and the dragonfly lands on his head, and she's like, you have to come with me. And he's obviously like, what in the world are you doing? But he just kind of like
goes with it.
Because she's like, no, my son loves insects. Like, he would love this, and I want to do this. So he's kind of just like, you just insulted me.
And now you want my help.
And now you want me to walk with you to a store so you can go get an insect holding cage, whatever thing. Mm-hmm. But he does. And like, that was just a really...
They both have kids.
They both have, yeah. But for not our main characters, but for them just to have this moment of like, yeah, I don't know that we'll ever like cross paths again. Like, now, like, we know we're in the same like office building, but like, now we could maybe help each other out sometimes. But it's just like you can tell that a friendship's gonna start, even if it's... I did not subscribe to your channel. What?
I know. I was like, geez, you don't have to be disgusted about it. A little bit heavy-handed with the rejection
right?
there. Yeah, they've got such an interesting dynamic. I think in episode 7, the scene where HaNeul's mom is so pissed at JeongWoo for rejecting her in front of them on the rooftop. But she's also so sad for him for the situation he's had to go through, and just the way that she's like comforting him and then hitting him and then feeding him food. And he's just like, I don't know what's going on.
What whiplash are you trying
to, but
like...
no more ginger wine for you. Please.
I beg of you, make it stop.
And then to expand on that moment when he gets a call from DaeYoung, who wants to like be a supportive friend for the first time in his life. And she just, like, goes off on him. And she's like, how dare you? How dare you? Don't ever call this number again. And he's, like, so distraught.
What?
I know. He's so sad about it. It was beautiful. Do you have any others?
When they meet the former classmate on the street.
Oh, that's in my angry moment.
I loved HaNeul in that whole scene, though, of her just being like,
who do you think you are?
What? But her recognizing, you know, we can get into that more, but her just recognizing, like, no, for the one instance, like, you were completely in the right. Like, you protect people, you stand up for people who need to be stood up for, but also, like, I have very bad memories of you because that's not how I was treated whatsoever.
Oh my goodness. Did you have any others? Or do we want to get into themes and tropes?
Yeah, let's get into themes and tropes, because otherwise they're all just going to be...
Yeah, the whole thing is
right.
Conglomeration. So one of the things that I had is honesty is the best policy. When HaNeul tells her family that she did not get the job in that rural hospital, and she's like really built this up in her head to be like, I'm going to disappoint them. It's going to be this whole thing. And then she does. She tells the truth, and they're just like, man, you know, that's rough, but I didn't want you to leave anyway. And everybody goes about their business, and they're super relaxed about it. And it just goes to show you that, like, in our minds, we have this tendency to make things into things that they're not, like mountains out of molehills.
Right.
And we tend to shoulder expectations that maybe aren't even really there. And if you just get that out in the open, like, it's fine.
Yeah, you can actually, like, deal with it.
Mm-hmm. or let it go because it's a non-issue. So I thought that was a good moment.
That was a fun one.
But then there's the mental health aspect, which obviously that's kind of like the continuing thread throughout this whole show, is just addressing mental health in general. But like in episode 6, where HaNeul is going through these ups and downs of depression, where, you know, some days all she can do is lie down. Other days she gets these little spurts of energy and she feels really motivated to do things. And then some days she's really pampering herself, like, I'm gonna go buy myself a new underwear and feel like I've really taken care of things, and then she's looking at it on the bed and she's like, I don't know what I did all of this for. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was such a relatable for anyone who's ever really, you know, been in that position to where just, you know, your mentality is kind of in a rough place where one moment you're like, I don't even remember what it's like to feel that level of despair, and then you're like, this is great, and it can just so quickly turn into, why?
Don't understand.
What is going on? Why is this my situation? And I felt like it was an accurate depiction for, like, even just as a woman, like, to so quickly juggle the two mindsets, and especially being a mom, where you sort of just have to, like, set it aside and just be mom. And even if you feel like the one, you gotta be the other. And so I just kind of identified with it. Maybe not necessarily from the same depth that she does, but there's, you know, shadows of my personal experience in there where you're like, this is a terrible day, but okay.
Right. I really liked the friendship themes that were being pulled through. Of even, obviously, HaNeul and JeongWoo, of, like, I got your back. I'm here. You know, doing the ghost stop. But even when HaNeul doesn't come home, and JeongWoo was like, takes her out, does all these things, and was like, okay, are you good now? Like, checking in on you. And then even in episode 7, when HongRan is actually being a really good friend to DaeYoung and going, you're so concerned about the guy. Like, why do you care? And he's like, because we used to be friends. You know, we had an incident, we had a falling out, but, like, it breaks my heart to see my friend, or somebody I used to call, like, one of my best friends. It breaks my heart that he's going through this. So even him reaching out, because he does reach out, and yes, he gets yelled at on the phone, but that she's being, she's being more family to JeongWoo, who's never had real family. But he, even in that moment, like, they're pulling him out and being like, the sense of real relationships with people of, we're messy and we're sloppy and
to like pull him out of his funk.
But for all of them, like, we have all of our problems, but that doesn't mean that I can't show up, be there when you need me to be there. Pada with his sister, of just coming out and being like, dude, you didn't get the job. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's
move on.
Let's just go on with it. Or when she has questions about things, of him just being like, I'll help you out whenever you need advice.
For the right price.
Yeah. Give me some money, I'll do whatever
still
you
a little
need.
brother.
Oh, yeah, we're still a brother. But, like, showing how real relationship, real friendship, like, real family, everybody's a mess in their own way. And that's okay. Yeah. Because you can still be a good support system for everybody else who does need that. And that's getting stronger as episodes have gone on, because those relationships are being built or being rediscovered, especially for JeongWoo and HaNeul of like their relationship of the past was, I'm gonna be better than you are.
But like to back up a little bit and piggyback off of your whole like being there for each other in spite of maybe where you're at in your own personal life, just the frustration, not the frustration, but I think the sadness that HaNeul had for JeongWoo when she realizes he's been carrying this burden
All of it alone
by himself, and he has always checked in on her, always been checking in to see if she's okay, and he has put on such a happy front that she didn't even clue into the fact that he himself is drowning in his own personal stuff, and that made her so sad. And I think it also frustrated her because here he is offering all this help, and it's hard for her to accept.
Right.
And so she's had to grow in that aspect of She's had to grow in that aspect in her own personal life, allowing people to help, but he has not returned that favor.
Yeah. Let me be upset for you.
Yeah.
Let me be hurt for you.
Exactly. And he's not letting her in the same way. But when she tells him that, let's fix you, basically. Or not fix you, but let's have a therapeutic day together. And so she takes him to buy a wine that he can drink before bed, which we've discussed is not really gonna...
It's actually not great for your health. But moving on.
She gets him some new cotton pajamas. It's breathable, it's comfortable, all these things. Helps him wash his sheets so they're fresh. And then as they're washing the sheets in the basin, she just adds in casually that she has feelings for him. Just a casual confession that we're going to drop. And he just goes, you're really going to say something like that here? And she goes,
Really?
My mind is in a weakened state, so that's probably why I was so easily infected by you. And he's just like, excuse you? What is happening? I'm
an infection now?
I know.
I'm a disease?
Yes, according to her.
That's a goblin moment right there.
Yeah, it really is. But I love the vulnerability that they draw out of one another. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have relationships if you cannot be vulnerable with one another, because it's all a front. Otherwise, you know what I mean?
It's a mask. One of my favorite tropes was the claw machine trope.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
I'm saying almost because I'm sure there's got to be a couple that don't have the claw machine.
The claw.
One of them is really, really good at it. The other one is atrocious and just gonna continue to spend all your money trying to win this stupid little plush.
I will say the drunken aspect of it was a little bit of a twist.
That one, it was a little more fun to watch.
Yeah, it was cute. I was so glad they snuck that in.
Or the wishes.
The wishes.
The wish trope. I don't know if it's technically a trope, but like the moon, when they're sitting there and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make a wish at the moon, and then yells it. And that's, you don't normally hear the wish because they're closing their eyes and going, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's screaming at the moon, I want her to be happy. And she's just going, why are you yelling? And he goes, because it's far away.
I don't know if he'll hear it.
I just need to make sure the sound gets to the moon.
But on that same scene, just the number of times he just goes, I like you.
I bet you didn't know this.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I like you. She's like, please stop saying it.
You've told me many times tonight.
I gotta tell you. And she's like, what? And he goes, you're really pretty. And she goes, I actually haven't heard you say that. And he goes, really? Because I like you.
He's so
adorable. The other thing that I really enjoyed that they addressed was in episode 7 where he says he's getting all these calls from people that had abandoned him at his lowest moment in life, just his loneliest time. And he says, those who could have called didn't for my sake. Those who didn't need to call kept calling. And this is something I see on social media like all the time. And it's people who are going through hardship. It's like the vultures descend. Everybody wants a piece of the sympathy. And so they try to align themselves or associate themselves with the people going through a very, very difficult time. Maybe it's a loss. Maybe it's like a sickness.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I know this person so personally and yada, yada, yada.
XYZ.
So that other people can be like, oh, wow, I'm just so sorry to hear what it... And it's almost like they're like feeding off of the sympathy because they feel like it validates them somehow. I have no idea. It's the weirdest phenomenon ever.
Well, yeah, because you watch the newspapers be like, oh, we got an interview. Like, we need to talk to him. And then people the companies that used to have his products be like, we didn't we didn't get rid of it, right? Like, we still have it. Look, we can turn this into an opportunity now. And you're like, what about all the money that he had to pay out that he shouldn't have?
And he's not going to get any of those royalties, I'm sure.
No, yeah, you're just lining your pocket there.
Yeah, so I felt validated by them addressing it. Just that he acknowledges that the people who really cared were like, I'm not going to bother him right now.
Yeah,
those are the people he needed. And the people that he was like, I don't know you, leave me alone. Or you're dead to me.
Yeah, like the friends that
would not leave him
jumped
alone.
ship after embezzling money from him.
Well, they even talk like, maybe we should reach out because I bet he needs a social media manager again and we don't have jobs. Like, it's never been about their friendship. It has always been about the clout chasing for them, and it's just disappointing to see.
Well, the one, he was like, maybe right now is not the best time. But it's the other one who punched him out and was like, you did this. Maybe you actually, and was throwing the blame that was like, maybe I should reach out to him. And the other one was like...
The problem I have, though, is that he's still with that guy.
Yeah, but they're both terrible.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
I get he's maybe a little more soft on his stance, but, like...
He's still terrible.
You're still a crappy person. You don't get a free pass from me.
No!
Yeah. But moving on into relationships. First I want to talk about DaeYoung and HongRan. The ladybug meet cute that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Or maybe we didn't. We talked about the dragonfly, but the ladybug meet cute in the elevator when we actually learn that this is HongRan, not...
he sees her name.
Yeah, because he originally mistook HaNeul for HongRan. And so the cluelessness on her part, because she's just like, oh, you can help my kid catch bugs or whatever.
Right.
But he's got this whole, like, vision in his head of who she could be to him because of this YouTube endeavor. Whoa.
What is happening?
And like you said, the friendship that's starting to develop between the two of them is very almost platonic.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they just kind of are able to bond over the fact that they are both single parents working long hours in a very difficult industry.
Right.
And not really having anybody else. Which seems to be a theme.
Well, yeah,
in and of
because
itself.
even, like, DaeYoung will be, like, with his nurses of, like, okay, who wants to go for lunch? And they're all just like, yeah, no. Bye. Like, I'm out.
How about HaNeul and her family?
We're starting to get past the pitying of self. like her mom being like, this is my fault, and instead she's being like, more like, are you good now? Like, I don't need you to have everything figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But we're more into the supportive role now, and we're not quite so smothery. We were a little we were quite smothering.
Mm-hmm.
And even her uncle still, Taeson, just kind of he's in the back seat, but he's like, I'm still here if you need me, whatever it is. Pada is just a little brother. Man, he is obnoxious and he is
how it is.
Turd, but we kind of said that earlier, if he calls it how he sees it.
Mm-hmm.
He might not have all the information, but even if when he does, yes, he wants to be paid for his input and potential help.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even going to his sister and being like, if you ever need my advice, I'm here for you. I got you. But he's using that moment to pretend to take her wallet because really he wants her to do the normal thing of, like, she notices that he is trying to get money from her, but he's looking for context clues.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's far more insightful than his entire family realizes.
Yeah. He plays dumb.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed getting to see his perspective growing up as her brother. Where he's like, I was always below average and that was perfectly fine with me. Like, let her take the pressure off because I reaped some of the benefit because when she got good grades, we had pizza. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
like they named me to compliment her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're not seeing, at least at this point, that he feels he's in a shadow. I think he recognizes that he has his own strengths. Like he's a romantic. He has relationships. He knows people in a way that she just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, people are completely foreign to her.
They are proteins.
Yeah. And like when she's being hit on by the best school fighter and she's just like, teacher, he's not letting me study, you know,
Right.
And so I think he has a good perspective in the fact that, yeah, maybe he doesn't have the accolades, but he does have his own strengths. And then he says, to see her have all these successes, and now I look across the room and I see myself because she's staring at her phone, trying to find the best dating places.
Grinning from ear to ear while texting.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's like, no matter who you are, we're all schmucks for a person at the end of the day.
Right.
How about KyungMin and JeongWoo?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just say episode 5. So when JeongWoo asks why KyungMin had waited so long to tell him about the camera, and KyungMin says that he had gone to his house yesterday but he wasn't home, and then JeongWoo says, no, why didn't you tell me as soon as you found it? And it's not accusatory, it's just like, why didn't you
let me know? Yeah.
What's going on? And KyungMin looks super uncomfortable, and he was like, oh, I thought it was just a prank, not really related to anything, related to the incident with the woman dying. And JeongWoo tells KyungMin right after that he needs to call HaNeul and apologize for ruining her interview. And then KyungMin asks JeongWoo if he likes her, since he will be disappointed if he has feelings for her, since JeongWoo should not be happy right now. And I just put, what?
Yeah.
All caps. That took such a turn for me. That was kind of the moment where I'm like, all right, we're going full-blown villain here. Mm-hmm. Because what a crappy thing to say to somebody.
Well, it's like he's telling JeongWoo, yeah, I'm in your corner. You totally are guilty of this.
Mm-hmm.
You are the worst. You're a schmuck. And you killed someone. Mm-hmm. This is all your fault. And you don't deserve anything but everything that you're getting right now.
And not only this, but it seems like he is somehow, and we as the viewers don't know yet, he manipulated the situation with the cameras. He was not forthcoming about it, and we don't know why. I don't know why. I haven't watched that far yet. I would assume it has to do with the fact that he will somehow be implicated in this whole drama with the casino owner and the gang members that are after him. But yeah, it was just it took such a hard left from him being like his only friend.
Yeah, I found
showing
lawyers
up.
for you. And,
Yeah. And now it's like, screw you, go die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think he realizes that in that moment. But the problem, I don't know if he does yet, because he trusts KyungMin.
Yeah.
And so he internalizes that you shouldn't be happy. And that's when he rejects HaNeul.
Right.
Because he's like, he's absolutely right. I shouldn't be happy. And if he says it, then it must be true.
Right. Because I'm in no position to be able to handle anything. Yeah. KyungMin is just...
He's a very intriguing character, I will say.
Ew. Like, he's just... Ugh.
Yeah, it got worse the more I watched. Because I put... My next relationship was KyungMin and HaNeul, and I just put, what?
Schmuck.
That was so... I did the thing again. I did not recognize him as the assistant professor who took
took credit for her work, her dissertation.
Yeah, exactly.
That she wrote on her own.
And then he completely removed all credit. It's not just that he added his name to her paper. He took her name off and put his alone on the paper.
And then told her, how dare you come after me for that. Gee, dude, I don't know, because it's not yours. You're taking credit.
Yeah.
You're a cheat.
That ain't it.
But that was also, with KyungMin calling JeongWoo in episode 8 and being like, hey, I want to talk to you. And he's going, no, I'm busy, another time. And they come back to find a wedding invitation. And the look on HaNeul's face is just, what? Mm-hmm. When is he getting married? Who's he getting married? Like, and when she learns all of that information, just when it's his goodbye dinner and chef's kiss of, yeah, you're gonna pour me a drink, you're leaving. I guess what? I can say everything that you did, because I mean, I already don't work there. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to tarnish my reputation. It's already down the toilet right now, but I can bring you with me, because really yours is the one that should be down the toilet.
Well, you shouldn't have one because you've done no work.
Right. You schmuck. Anyway.
No, agreed.
Who do you have next as your relationship? Oh, okay.
HaNeul and JeongWoo. Mm-hmm. The first... When he wishes to the moon, like you talked about earlier, for HaNeul's problems to be solved, and he calls her his kidney bean sprout. And I mean, he's called her a lot of things that night, but this one kind of resonates because it's something that he's lingered on from his childhood.
Right.
Because it was one of the things that really broke his heart as a kid.
Yeah, it was the thing he failed at.
Yeah, and she's helping to heal some of his childhood hurts by just being someone who's reliable and loving, because he's never had that. Yeah. Which is awful.
It's terrible.
To be in your 30s, I'm assuming 30s, and to have never had a single person in your life that you could just trust implicitly. Yeah. And she realizes in this moment just how incredibly lonely he has been this whole time, because he has had no one to share life with, and the people that he has
are terrible.
He knew they had ulterior motives, and he still allowed them in, possibly out of loneliness and possibly just out of being the type of person who's always looking out for others. Mm-hmm. And it's really sad for her to recognize. Episode 8, the lack of the define the relationship talk is very relatable.
Been there.
The
also
DTR.
Was amazing. That whole build up. Mm-hmm.
It was so cute.
Are we also doing like cute moment right now? Because that that was fabulous of her going, okay, we held hands and he told me multiple times that he liked me. And then going to her mom and being like, okay, so I'm writing this dissertation on human emotions and I need to know how you and dad started dating. To which her mom's like, what?
Okay.
I guess, and gives the story. And then she goes to her uncle. This is when Pada comes up and is like, this is about you. This isn't about the friend that you're saying it is. Like, totally know this is you.
Yeah.
And when she just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go talk to him. Like, we need the DTR. We need that. We need to define the relationship. And her hiding in the bathroom while her brother comes up to talk to JeongWoo and just, please date my sister.
I love the air punches where she's just so mad about the things that Pada is saying.
Mortified.
Making her look like she's just not desirable whatsoever to the man that she loves. And she's just like, rage. Yeah. And then she pulls her
private life.
Yeah, I'm like, what is her name? I can't think of it.
That was my thought too, though. I was like, she's totally pulling that.
Are you looking it up?
I definitely am.
Okay. Hang on. I got it. I'm gonna think of it. Don't tell me. Oh, I almost had it. Oh, I keep wanting to say miso. No. Oh my gosh. Give me the first letter.
D.
Dokmi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was very impressive.
Dokmi? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a me in it.
Yeah,
okay,
there was a me. It was just
it was at the other syllable.
The opposite, yeah. Well, because I even liked the moments leading up to that of her bringing the iron up to his apartment to help him get ready for the trial.
Mm-hmm. Wait, to back up just really quick before you go to that point. The whole define the relationship thing.
Yeah,
when Pada is trying to offer her the advice and everyone else is like, just go with the unspoken agreement. Like, you don't need to make it obvious because you'll both just know from her uncle and her mom. And then he's like, no. It's not official until you say it's official. It doesn't matter what you've done. You can hold hands all you want. You can go further all you want. Until somebody says it's official, it is not official. And then
you're flirting.
He goes, yeah, exactly. He goes, it's like adding items to your shopping cart every day. They're not yours till you pay for them. Okay.
I mean, how wrong is he?
We got Doctor Slump and we got Dr. Love. Anyway, go ahead. What you were talking about.
I'll say, yeah, because this leads into her conversation with JeongWoo after Pada has come up and made her want to end his existence for all time.
Not the first time.
Well, probably not the last either. But she takes the iron up to his apartment to iron a shirt because his next trial is that day. And like, last time I saw you on TV, you were a rumpled mess. Because if you, that way you look more presentable and less suspicious and you're more likely to be believed. And then bringing some side dishes that her mom had made. And just her mom downstairs going, what happened?
Go?
Do I have, like, and because then Pata being like, what, do you have dementia or something? Like,
jeez.
But, like, so she's showing, like, another way to care for JeongWoo of, like, I'm going to make sure you're fed before you have this really exhausting trial that you have to continue to go to. I'm going to make sure you look presentable so then when they do get to the point of Pata going, just date my sister. Other than her depression and she doesn't know how to dress very well, she's actually pretty kind.
Other than every single flaw that I'm going to list out.
And her punching the air. Please stop talking. I beg of you. I beg of you.
I will say, though, that in episode 8 toward the end, the whole misunderstanding about the engagement versus the job refusal. I was annoyed.
Yeah, and that was because when we finished the episode for my sake, HongRan was a bad friend in that moment.
Yeah.
She was a terrible friend.
Absolutely.
And
there's been many points where she's been a terrible friend, but
and,
this was bad.
Like, DaeYoung wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't trying to spread gossip. He was saying, no, I offered this position to JeongWoo because he's been proven innocent and he would be a great asset to my clinic. And I want to help him out because I do care about him. And for him to tell HongRan, yeah, you know what? He turned me down. He said he just needs to be by the girl that he likes side. Like, he had an honorable reason to her turning around and being like, I don't want to add more to your stress and to your plate. But.
I don't like her character at this stage in the game. There's not a lot that's redeemable about her to me. She just seems so emotionally disconnected from everyone around her. And so, like, inwardly focused on her career and I don't know.
And her career.
Yeah, and I mean, at her child's expense, granted, when you're a single mom, there's not a whole lot you can do, but, I mean, she chose a career that's very, does not leave room for family when it's just you and just your kid. And just the way that she's so careless with DaeYoung's feelings, which I don't know if they're feelings, but just how she has no bedside manner, I guess.
Yeah. She's very, insincere.
Like, there's Pada, who's very honest, but it's because he's like, let's just get to the bottom of this so that we can all move on and you can actually improve. Hers is just like, I don't have time for you to, like, dance around. I'm going to throw a little bit of drama over here and bounce. So,
yeah,
bye.
I'm not going to be here for the fallout.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. But we don't have enough of her for me to gauge otherwise. But everything I've seen of her so far, I'm just like, nah,
Your best friend told you that she was depressed.
I don't like you.
And you're like, yeah, everybody's depressed these days. Like, we're...
And then there's really no, like, actual acknowledgement of the fact that her friend is going through something really difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're not my favorite, but it's okay. You're not my friend. I don't have to deal with you. Just turn off the TV. Angry moments. The moment in episode 6 where HaNeul suggests to JeongWoo that maybe he should see a therapist, and he's like, I'm not that weak-minded. And then he was like, wait.
I mean...
And she's like, no, I gotta go. Bye.
I didn't mean that... Yeah, that was... And that's how you know that's just walls. Like, I can't let myself...
recognize or
feel
acknowledge.
anything because I was told that I shouldn't even feel happy, so...
Yeah. Well, and once you start to deconstruct these, whatever's going on with the facade, it just kind of all crumbles. And obviously he can't afford that if he has to look presentable for a trial that, may or may not end his life.
Yeah, his ability to practice anything.
Or walk freely out on the street.
Right.
Yeah, it's just... Anyway. Yeah, that was not his finest moment.
No.
But it also reveals, like... the mindset that a lot of people have around therapy is, well, I can work through this by myself. And yeah, I mean, maybe, but it's also not wrong to be like, hi, can I have some help so that I don't get to that point?
Can someone assist me, please?
Yeah, and it's in my mind, like, there's the type of therapy that's like, I need the antibiotic, I'm sick, and I'm not going to get better without it. And there's also, like, the type of therapy that's like a vitamin, where it's preventative. It's going to help you have tools to not get to that point where you need the more, like, intense type of help. But not everybody needs it.
Right.
Some people just naturally don't, and some people just naturally do, and like it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But
I would agree.
and then the classmate.
The classmate.
Who lives in her own delusion of
fantasy.
Grandeur, and
Yeah.
She thought she was the main character. She was not even a secondary character.
When you think you're the main character.
She was us. We're all like, oh yeah, he's definitely in love with me, and it's no. You mean I can't have that? I can't have that K-drama like actor be in love with me? What?
That's so unfair. Yeah, that is that's the parodies where they're like, when you think you're the main character and then JeongWoo shows up and you're like, you're supposed to be with me, but he showed up, so I'm just gonna leave.
I know. I do love though how they go back through after she lists out all the ways that he was so kind to her, sharing the eraser, giving her all the sausages. They go back through and debunk it, and it all had to do with HaNeul and him.
Everything had to do with HaNeul.
Him just like not really knowing what's happening over here because he's so focused on HaNeul, and then she's just like, wow. He loves me, and he doesn't even remember her name hardly.
And he's like, we went to school together.
But then she doesn't even get HaNeul's name right, like after she just learns it. And then
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. Even by the end, she's just like, bye, classmate. Number 2. Number 2. I used to be number 2, but I guess now I'm number 3. Like, what?
But I was number 2 by like a lot.
Yeah, understand. You are third wheeling. You are number 3. Go away, please.
We will not ask again.
Training wheel, not necessary. But then when she's like, do you think he has the same number? And HaNeul's like, yeah, probably. I think he does. And she goes, great. So I can text him and it'll be...
Yeah, because she's following his trial.
Remind him of... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know you're not guilty. Okay. I would like you to stop. Another thing that was super maddening was after the trial, after he's been proven innocent, that his mom calls him.
Yeah.
And says, I knew you were innocent. Be sure to take care of the media correctly. And hangs up. And that was the entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like...
Dude, I would stop answering.
All right, well...
Also, like... They're obviously a well-off family. Because
they're living in
the husband
States
is going to be the head of the American Heart Association.
He's a candidate for being a chairman. Like...
You're making money, and your kid is homeless?
Yeah. And the only thing you care about is the reputation that...
I would think that at the very baseline, I guess they didn't prove his innocence yet, but, like, they would want him to keep up appearances by staying in a nice place. But if he were guilty, then it'd be like, oh, they're supporting their murderer child. The man who fights JeongWoo. Moving on to more like plot-based things.
Yeah.
The man who fights JeongWoo in the street.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of are under the assumption that it's Jinsuk. But then we go to find out later, right, that Jinsuk is not a bad guy, which I was like, what?
Plot twist.
He's
like a real, like...
He was way too sus to not be. Like, why did you sneak around? And then you realize, they kind of did flesh that out well enough to where it's like, yeah, okay, if he were involved and he knew that Jinsuk had proof of what was happening, then yeah, Jinsuk would be in danger.
Absolutely.
So he was kind of watching him to be sure of his innocence. And so I get that.
But also he had the proof that he was innocent.
Yeah.
He had the recording of the people coming in.
The nurse who was...
Well, people coming in and changing out medication, putting the fingerprints on the bottle. Like...
Yeah, if you were implicitly involved, why wouldn't...
Right.
And even if you were, then he was the fall guy, and so why would you want to stay on their side? That played out so interestingly, though. I did not expect it to go that direction. And even the fact that they go to the police station together was so interesting. So that leaves us to wonder, like, what is the deal with the guy in black who keeps stalking him? Because we had seen, you know, at first you're like, oh, well, maybe the guy in black was Jinseok, who is trying to figure out XYZ. But they show him watching JeongWoo in normal street clothes.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that signals to the fact that he was not the man in black. Is that?
Well, we see him as the one who breaks into the apartment because he was going to leave the evidence there.
Right. Oh, and it rolled under the table. He wasn't trying to record JeongWoo.
Right.
And then because the evidence got damaged because of the window.
Because the pens were his safety net from a previous experience of being framed when it was not his fault. And so he's like, okay, well, then I'm just going to always have backup. Mm-hmm. That way,
which is very illegal in Korea, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. You can't be filming.
But especially in Korea, yeah.
Like that. Yeah, so obviously that was an unrealistic plot for that aspect. But,
yeah.
So yeah, he was the one who broke in. I don't know for sure that he was the one that fought.
I would assume no.
But I don't remember. It's been a long time.
I just realized in Business Proposal they have a similar plot with Young-seo. The guy who gives her the lamp.
Yeah, you're right. The lamp.
Anyway.
When DaeYoung goes to JeongWoo and is like, runs up the stairs and is like... Okay, I guess this is kind of plot point, is when he runs up the stairs and he just grabs him and he's like... I'm so glad you're okay. I'm so glad that everything is resolved. And HaNeul's just going, what is happening? And they, like, and JeongWoo learns that they were each other's blind date. And he's kind of just, like, stuck in this, like, I'm sorry, you want to date with my girlfriend? You're the schmuck? Like...
But DaeYoung is just, like, trucking ahead with this, you are my friend now.
But because then it turns into, so yeah, they go and they talk. And DaeYoung kind of treats him like he did before, expecting him to sit in the chair that he pulls out, expecting him to be, oh, you haven't had beef in so long and you must be lacking and needing. And he's like, dude, what is your problem? Like, can you chill?
Laying it on a little thick here.
But afterwards, when JeongWoo comes back and HaNeul is waiting for him and he, you know, they're like, okay, let's go. And he gets the phone call from KyungMin asking to meet. And he goes, I am busy. And he and HaNeul go on their date finally. And he tells her, I don't want you to always be, you know, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't want you to suppress. I want you to feel the things you need to feel. I don't want you to be like, oh, yeah, I'll let you have that because that's what you want. Mm-hmm. Like, I want you to...
Find a healthy balance with that.
Yeah. Whatever it is that you need to figure out how to be in your own skin and to be brave, because it's something that you're so scared to do. And I know you can do it because you have been doing well. And he's still being consistent with when she realizes that he's pouring out constantly of like checking in on her. I want you to be okay. Mm-hmm. And it's her going, I don't know how to do that. And that's a lot for me to take on right now of I'm not okay. Yeah. And the fact that, what is it with bugs finding me?
Pigpen makes a comeback.
I just washed my hair today, so no.
Your hair is very cute.
Thanks.
Probably why the bug wants to hang out near it.
Stupid thing. Anyway. It's fine.
I think I saw it over there when you hit the thing. Yeah, it's okay. Anyway.
I had to make a shirt that says Pigpen from now.
Please do.
Should I make that as a little flag? And so when it happens, you can just wave the flag.
Oh amazing. Okay. The point where HaNeul and JeongWoo are drinking beers and they're talking about their classmate making HaNeul feel like jealous and insecure and all these things. And they kind of talk about how they've been holding back their feelings because of their individual circumstances being just so rough, and they're trying to work through personal things and not wanting to throw a relationship into the middle of it to complicate things. And JeongWoo finally says to her, "I like you." And then he tells her, "You're like a drug someone prescribed to me." And then I put, "Twilight." "You're like my own personal brand of heroin."
Kim will always find a way to bring in Twilight.
I need help.
The amount of Twilight-related videos and memes that I send to you is a little unhealthy.
That was our generation, though. We can't help it.
There's no shame.
Y'all had TikTok. We had Twilight. There's a moment where after the rooftop ginger wine meal takes place, where they go for round 2, right? And they're kind of talking before they go drunkenly do the claw machine game. JeongWoo says that this wasn't his first failure in his life, and he's never really had family to support him, but everyone goes through hardship. So he thought that he should be grateful for what he had, but then he realizes he wasn't strong all those years. He had just never actually hit rock bottom before. And everybody has their own threshold, right? But I just thought that was a really interesting way that he framed that, in terms of he had been through a lot. I mean, he never had any genuine friends, and he's like, yeah, it was all bearable until it wasn't.
Yeah.
and anyway, the moment after JeongWoo lets HaNeul out of the bathroom, and he rushes, and she's just like sitting there like a wet dog, kind of dazed and confused, and you're like, oh, she's so mad. And
a little bit more a lot of it mortified.
Yeah. But then she's looking dead inside, and she looks at JeongWoo and says, "Are we really dating?" Because he had admitted to Pa that they were already dating.
He's like, yeah, I thought we were dating from yesterday.
Yeah, and so she's like, "Are we really dating?" Because this is what's been her fixation, right? And he kind of starts to get a little bit nervous, and he goes, "We held hands yesterday. Did you intend to do that without going out with me?" And he very cutely says that they're not friends anymore. They're dating. And then he gives her a change of clothes, and he fixes her a cup of hot tea, and she walks out of the bathroom in his clothes, and they're way too long, and he smiles because it's just very cute to him to see her in his clothes. And he ends up presenting her with a bouquet of flowers and asks her to go on a date that night.
I love when she pulls her hand in the sleeve.
Yeah, and they're like, he goes to like, wants to hold her hand, right? And she's like, "Oh, it's disappeared." And they're like, "Oh, it disappeared." And then he just yanks her in for a hug.
So cute.
So cute.
Oh.
And then she says it was so sudden. He responds with, "What was I supposed to do? Book an appointment?" There's so much about their chemistry that just feels so natural. Like the way that Park Hyung-sik, the way that Park Hyung-sik approaches like those like physical moments of like interaction feels just so not scripted in a way. Which, I mean, like in the Bongsoon, that little kiss, when
With
they're having the
chocolate?
chocolates is not scripted. So
No.
it makes you kind of wonder, like, maybe he does those things on purpose to fluster the other actress and
because
get a
you even
genuine
see
reaction.
with the look of surprise, that was literally
The actress being like,
Poyoung
"Excuse
being
you."
like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. But it fits with the story. It's nothing is this awkward, like, I'm going to try to be smooth.
Yeah.
Like I did write down when they go on their date, finally, right? And she's like, I've always wanted to read dissertations and discuss them. And he's like,
Lord help me.
Because then she has a game and she's like, what's this and what's this? And he's like, I don't know, what is it? And it's like all these anatomy things. And he's like,
for setting pick lines and setting catheters.
And he's like, no, let's go. And takes her on a real date. And when they go, takes her to the movies. Because she had said, we want to see the movies. And I wrote down that, he goes to the theater instead. And they're sharing popcorn. And I said, no straws, it's chopsticks for the popcorn.
Nope, he just goes straight in there. I love though that she's like eating. She's really enjoying herself because this is a date. And he looks over at her and he steals the popcorn out of her hand and then grabs her hand and he just lays down on it.
He's like, okay, this is my pillow now.
And then he feeds her a little bit of popcorn and then he lays down on her hand again. And it's just these little like
cute, sweet
this
moments.
is what normal people think is cute, not just sitting next to each other, not saying anything or reading dissertations. And it's just so... It's so me.
So that almost, that's you were saying about him being natural with that. How many of those little moments in that theater scene?
Yeah.
Where just him being like, this would go well here and this is what we're going to do now.
And I feel like there were moments where you could almost see the longevity of their real life knowing each other. I don't know how close they were. But there seemed like there was just a comfortability with how they interacted.
Right, yeah. We've known each other for years, so...
Yeah, like literally like a decade. But I love looking at them being love interests and knowing where they started with Inheritors, with the heirs.
2013 is when that came out.
And knowing... So it was literally 10 years for them.
Yeah.
Right, because Doctor Slump started...
It came out in 2024, so just over a decade.
And so just knowing that like, here he was, this goofy, like, not even a second lead, just a goofy side character, and she was the lead, and then seeing them together, and how they've grown as actors, and and it's just, I don't know, it's so good. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm just like, Park Hyung-sik is... Honestly, I think it was Happiness that did it for me.
Yeah, that is... I love
seeing him
that show so much.
In a serious role just, like, transformed the way that I look at him lately as an actor. And just having a whole different appreciation for him.
And his ability to deliver...
On all types of performances. Yeah. He's not just the goofy guy. But he plays that really well.
Even Hwarang, he's a more serious character.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that so badly.
Would that be an episodic, or can we handle that as an episodic? Would we just be depressed the whole time?
Probably, honestly. But, like, looking at his performance in Do Bong Soon, and then you see his performance in Happiness, and then somehow, like, this show, like, marries the two. Yeah. Because he's got those silly little mean moments where he's skipping around her in the street because they're going on their first date and he's so excited. And he goes...
Min-hyuk from Do Bong Soon.
Where she's like, did you wait very long? And he goes, I did, but I didn't. Because he sees how pretty she is. And then the serious moments where he's dealing with life and death, it's just married so well in this show. And I just have such an appreciation for his performance, and seeing, oh gosh, what's her name? Shin-hye?
Shin-hye, yeah.
I felt like obviously the character itself is stiff, and she plays a lot of those characters that I've seen in the few shows that I've seen her. They all are a little bit like uptight. But to see her in the bathroom, like, losing her mind, I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm connecting with you more.
I see it.
Yeah. And it's just those little moments where you feel like there's some real life there are the moments where you're like, I love this show.
Yeah.
It's
this
good.
is I mean, obviously it's a rewatch for me, and I'll probably watch it again at some point in the future, just because I will have seen it a couple times at that point, so I don't have to be like
so honed in on
glued to it, but it can still be like, oh. I just want this one scene.
So it is the halfway point.
We're halfway done.
Do you feel like it's paced out well so far?
I think so, because we've resolved JeongWoo's
I was shocked by that.
big trial.
I thought that was going to carry out throughout the whole show.
We have other things to deal with now for him.
Which stresses me out a little, I'm not going to lie. If it gets worse than this,
That's fair. But then, I mean, I feel like it was very well done to have that big conflict for him only be half the show. Because HaNeul's conflict is a slower thing to deal with compared to like the trial. The trial, that's
it blew up and settled.
But they still have their own struggles that they have to figure out. They have to figure out. I'm gonna get this stupid thing. Oh,
It's right there. I got it. I did it.
you did it!
I did it. Yay!
Because the way if they had taken the trial and made that last the entire show, that would have been way too exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And some like real life obviously doesn't work super quickly, but it also doesn't
Drag out
because if that was the sole thing of it, then it wouldn't be Doctor Slump. It'd be like, okay, this guy is in a lawsuit.
It'd be Suits.
It'd be Suits. Except not him being the lawyer, which he has done that already, so...
So good. I've seen him in a lot more things than I realized.
I everything that he's been in that I have seen, I have loved. I mean, he's...
At least 6 shows.
I know he's in one called Juror Number 8, and I haven't watched that one yet. It's on my list of things. Yeah, he's in... If he's not my number 1 Korean actor, that's like my favorite, he is at least in my top 3.
Mm-hmm. No, he's my number 1 now. It happened. It's a thing now. Anyway.
That's fair.
All right.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm excited to see how this resolves and what new drama they can drum up to infuriate me.
Don't worry, they will.
Yay. All right. Halfway point.
Halfway.
Make sure you check out our episodic episodes. Make sure you check out our episodic review of Business Proposal. That's a fun one. It's a lot more lighthearted than this one and a little bit more of an easy watch.
And flying
by.
Like,
it's a bit of a...
It's a faster watch. It's shorter. Like, there's only 12 episodes rather than 16 for Business Proposal.
What?
Yeah.
Crazy. I did not realize that, actually. Yeah. That's helpful. All right. But make sure you go check those out. Leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Let us know what you think, what you want to see, because we would love to review it. So,
yes.
See you next time. I believe in us.
Oh, yeah, we totally can. Okay, welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments of Doctor Slump episodes 5 through 8 with you, our listeners.
Emma said that's Ashley again. We're gonna jump right in. We're gonna jump right in. So this is your one and only warning. If it blah blah blah. What am I saying? We're gonna jump right in. So this is your one and only warning. If you have not watched the episodes, make sure you go do that before you come back here and And this is the point where I spilled my coffee. We are going to jump right in. For the 4th time. We are going to...
I'm sorry. When you said the 4th time, that caught me. I don't know why.
Okay. We're going to jump right in. We're going to jump. Jump around. Jump around.
Flounder around.
I'm gonna read this one more time. I'm so tired. Oh my gosh.
What?
Okay, I don't want you. I was gonna say something like,
Oh no.
"Has your arch nemesis from high school ever become your best friend in your adult life?" And that just did a little too close to home. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
That is so funny.
Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. We'd love to connect with you on our Instagram at the KDrama Show. For more behind-the-scenes content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim, and we'll see you next time.